Good evening and welcome to the rest of the news. We have a really outstanding program for you today, and it's our special guest is Bill Haycraft. And Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Dr. Simon, I appreciate you inviting me on today. I've been involved in the outdoors most of my life. In recent years, I am a past president of the League of Kentucky Sportsmen. I've worked extensively with the legislature of the state of Kentucky, Senate, and the House. Before that, I was the chairman of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and helped Governor Patton bring the elk in, and worked with two governors and David Williams. And the legislature is a peculiar set of circumstances. You don't get everything you ask for, but sometimes you get part of what you ask for.
Good.
And I represented 1 million sportsmen and women in the state of Kentucky as the president of the league.
1 million?
Yes, sir. Boat owners, gun owners, sportsmen, 1 million people in the state of Kentucky.
Wow.
That's why when you walk in Frankfort, most of the politicians recognize who you are if you're president of the League of Kentucky Sportsmen.
I would think so.
And today, I'd like to get the attention and address the sportsmen and women across America because of the election that's coming up.
Yes.
It is very critical. We've got families, we've got children, we've got grandchildren, and we've got great young grandchildren that's coming on. And it's the man who has a pickup truck. He's got some children. He likes to take hunting and fishing. He doesn't have a big farm. He doesn't have a lot of the luxuries that some people have, but he's still a sportsman. He still has a right to own a firearm, and that's the most important right in America today, because if we lose that right, we lose everything.
Well, I'm told that Hitler took away all the guns and said they were dangerous for everybody, and so did Mussolini and Pol Pot, and all of the dictators across the years have said, these guns they're liable to go off and hurt somebody, and so we're going to take everybody's gun.
Well, I've never seen a gun kill anybody. I've seen people use guns to kill people with.
Yeah.
I've seen people use knives to kill people with. I've seen people use a car, and of late on the news, we've seen people use trucks to kill people with.
That's right. And then once they get your weapons, you're not going to be able to have any other rights.
Dr. Simon, I know you're very conservative, and I am too, and I'm a minister of the gospel as well. 20 or 30 years ago, you and I would have never thought we would have ever seen homosexual and gay marriage.
Right.
But the same Supreme Court justices that passed that and made it law are standing on their tiptoes wanting to take our Second Amendment away from us.
Wow. And they're headed that way, aren't they?
And they're headed that way. Unless we elect a president that will put Supreme Court justices there who will make quality, good decisions for America, for all Americans, it'll happen.
And support the Constitution.
And support the Constitution.
Right. Right.
Dr. Simon, the gun industry today is under attack like never before. The current administration and those who wish to follow the current administration, working through the EPA, have taken the lid away from the gun manufacturers of America, the ammunition manufacturers. What they've done, they've closed the smelting plants. So if we don't have bullets to fire, we don't have any use for our guns. Now, what we're having to do is import lead from other countries. Now, that puts America at risk.
Yeah.
Big risk.
Raises the price of ammunition.
And the taxation that this current administration and those who choose to follow this current administration want to put on guns and ammunition is unreasonable and out of control.
It's just a backdoor to gun confiscation.
Well, Dr. Simon, when if in fact that were to happen, criminals and terrorists would have no problem getting guns, and America, the neighborhoods that we live in, would not be a safe place to live, because we don't have enough police officers to patrol the streets of America today. and they're under such attack that there's never been anything like it before. I'm a public servant. I was a Louisville firefighter. I worked with the police department. I went through the riots in the late '60s. I know what happens through troublemakers and when you get people in from other countries and people in from other cities and agitators, and they turn automobiles over and they burn them and they set people's house on fire. It puts life and property in great jeopardy. And the firefighters and the police officers and National Guard are called out, and then we have anarchy on the street. And that's exactly what this current administration is proposing, and those who wish to follow this current administration, when they're saying we want to take guns off the street. Now, we have a person who's wanting to follow our current president, who wishes and uses the term common sense gun reform. Common sense gun reform. This person will not talk about gun control because it's a volatile issue. And some people fall for it. We have people, in the Bible, the Apostle Paul mentioned 7 different times, I would not have you be ignorant, brethren, concerning spiritual things. And we have an America today, in most places, that has a mindset of ignorance.
Well, it seems to me a lot of the places where these mass shootings and terrorist attacks are in no-gun zones.
That's right.
So, in other words, might be safer if we had more guns.
Take the guns away from the average person. What do they have to defend themselves? Because you can make 4 and 5, sometimes 6 telephone calls to the police department, and they are too busy working other areas of your own neighborhood to respond. We've had people break into houses in the neighborhood I live in, make 6 or 7 telephone calls to the police department. We're busy. There's an officer on the way, and you clock it. It takes 10, 12 minutes. The person's gone to another neighborhood by then. And at least you could do is arm yourself and hold that individual. You don't have to shoot the person, but the threat of having a weapon there makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, we had one of our political figures in one of our neighboring cities last week, and they were talking about gun rights. People talk about, well, they don't like people having guns. They want to do away with the Second Amendment. They forget about due process of law. It is a constitutional right. We have the Second Amendment, and without the Second Amendment, we have no other amendment.
That's right.
We have a terror watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dr. Simon, because you have a bumper sticker on your car, and because I'm on your program, they could profile us. And they would if they had an opportunity, for any reason. But if we were Muslim, or if we were Black Brotherhood, or we were this or that, and they profile that individual, and I have good black friends.
Yeah.
I'm a minister. I have good black friends in this city that I fill the pulpit with from time to time. But profiling is a political buzzword. It is political correctness today. And if you profile an individual and you put them on the terror watch list, they're scrutinized. They can't do their job because of who those people are.
Right.
Now, what's fair about that?
It's
when
not.
we talk about fairness.
Right.
What's fair about that? Now, is it fair to you and to your children, to your grandchildren, for some rapist or homosexual person, pedophile, etc., that's wandering around the neighborhood, stalking your grandchildren? Is profiling and keeping him off the watch list? Is that good for your children? No, it's not. We need law and order.
Yeah.
And what are we doing today? We're taking aim at police officers and
You're right.
assassinating them on the streets. criminals don't obey laws.
That's right. That's right.
They care less about gun laws. They care less about my rights, your rights. They want to deal in drugs. They want to deal in alcohol. They want to deal in prostitution. They want to do whatever it is they want to do without any interference from the law. And what happens when that happens in your neighborhood, or they break into your house and you have no weapon to defend yourself?
Here is a comparison from Phyllis Schlafly of the two platforms. One party here wants to use federal tax money to pay for abortions. And we have a video here that is one of the candidates speaking and telling her exact position on abortion. And would like to show that to him for just a second.
I would like to see Planned Parenthood even get more funding.
Deep-seated cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases have to be changed.
The unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights.
The only people that I would ever appoint to the Supreme Court are people who believe that Roe v. Wade is settled law.
That's not you or me speaking, but that's the candidate themselves. You know, this whole idea they bring in more and more Muslims into the United States, but no Christians. They won't allow the Christians that are being tortured in the Middle East to come. The bathrooms, they want men in the women's bathroom, and the women's shower, the girls' shower. And another issue that's here is voter identification. Some people think you ought to be able to have a picture identification in order to vote. Mm-hmm. They say, oh, no, you can't do that. You need a voter identification in order to get on an airplane or do anything else, but they don't want it for voting. It just seems like this election is very important.
Well, again, I would like to address the sporting groups like Safari Club International, one of the greatest outdoor groups in America, Gun Owners of America, the National Rifle Association. All of these groups are coming together at a grassroots level, organizing, and we need your support. If you're listening to this, you're watching this, it's imperative that when you see this on YouTube or the television, however you can do, by whatever means you can do it, you need to take your smartphones and pass this around to your other friends and support the administration that will support America, that will support gun rights, that will support the Second Amendment, that will make America great again. Because America is not great right now. America is in decline. It doesn't take a mental heavyweight to see. Look at the news of an evening. America has been in decline for the last 10, 15 years, and it is getting worse. And if this current administration and the people who want to succeed it in that vein, if they have their way, this will probably be our last election as a free nation.
Well, and you know that video we just showed about the position on abortion? We have that on a DVD, and we'll send that to you if you want to call in right now. The number is 893-2444. If you want to call that number right now, and if no one is there, just leave your name and address and phone number, and we'll send that to you in the mail, and it's free, totally free. And so you can give that call right now, 893-2444.
Another video or another YouTube video that needs to be seen is the Clinton Cash YouTube. And the theaters have the movie Hillary's America. It's a must-see. for every family to go view this, find out what Hillary's America is all about. It will open your eyes to a lot of things that you're probably not aware of.
You know, it seems to me a few years ago there was a kind of a toss-up about the two different parties and things. But today things are much different. It's a much more serious situation, and the two parties are in some ways quite different.
Dr. Simon, look at our own state here in Kentucky. County after county that went blue dog Democrat. Year after year after year after year. This year in the election for our own governor, for Matt Bevins, they all went Republican.
Yeah.
Swept the entire region that was heavily Democrat.
Yeah.
I think this is a trend that's going to sweep this nation, because whether you're Democrat, Independent, or Republican, use common sense.
Right. That's exactly right. Somebody said, vote your values.
Vote your values. What about your children? What about your grandchildren? We don't want to lose the freedom that we have enjoyed and the men and women have given their blood for. My grandfather fought in World War I. My father fought in World War II for the freedoms that this nation enjoys today. We've got men and women overseas right now in tumultuous places, giving their lives for the freedom that this party, this administration wants to take away from us. And it's the end of America if this happens, in my opinion.
I think you're exactly right. Those Supreme Court justices can change everything.
Everything.
And it's really important to tell people and to get out and vote your values.
8 years ago, there were entire denominational church groups that didn't come out and vote. Did not vote.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to be involved in it. Now you're paying the price for not voting. If you're a Christian, go to the poll and vote.
Civic duty.
It's our civic duty and it's our right under God. This nation is a catalyst for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if we fail now, we've lost it.
You know that story in the Bible about Jesus said that there was a ruler took a long trip and he gave a talent to each of his servants and said, occupy till I return.
Yes.
And one of them said, oh, I know he gave me this talent and it's my right to use it and all that, but I'm just going to bury it. And it seems to me that's sort of what it is. If someone has the right to vote, that God has given us the right to vote, and we just bury it and don't use it, that's not the right answer.
Well, the New Testament teaches us that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. This is against ideologies. It's not against people.
Yeah.
But people are formed by ideologies. People are formed by beliefs. And we have a person running for president this year who fills the bill of Jezebel in the Old Testament more than any person I've ever heard of in my lifetime.
Well, it's a very serious thing. Well, we talked about this platform. I want to remind you that we have this DVD of candidate's position on abortion, and you can get that right now by calling 893-2444. And if nobody's there, just leave a message on the answering machine and give your name, phone number, and address, and we'll get that out to you right away. Where it's very serious.
Dr. Simon, it was the National Rifle Association who helped free slaves. They were the ones that lobbied and legislated to see slavery end. The National Rifle Association has had a huge part in the history, the conservative history, the fundamental values of this nation. Gun Owners of America has had a huge impact on Washington, on our legislators. We can be very thankful here in Kentucky that our senators and our representatives and our governor are all gun rights people. This is a gun rights state. It's an open carry state. Ohio is an open carry state. These are values that not any other nation in the world has. These are freedoms that if they are taken away from us, we'll be just like Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Under control
of a dictator. Yeah.
A third world nation. I've been in Nicaragua. I've been in Central America, in Guatemala, Honduras. I don't want to live that way, and neither do you. Vote, support the Second Amendment. It is the most critical hour that we have in our history in this election. We've never lived in a day like this.
We've got a couple of minutes yet. I'll just remind you that this video on position on abortion is free. If you could call us right now, 893-2444, and you can call that number right now. And if no one is there, just leave your name, phone number, and address, and we'll get it out to you. Just leave it on the answering machine, and we can get it out to you right away. These videos and these movies that are available on YouTube are very informative, like Clinton Cash. Clinton Cash. If you go on YouTube and put in the search box Clinton Cash, it'll come right up.
And everyone that has a smartphone, Google that up, get that information to your friends, to your hunting and fishing buddies, to your boating buddies across America. The hour has come that you need to take action.
Yeah, because it's the day will come when we won't be able to do anything.
If we don't do it now, we may never have another opportunity.
Well, I think we've covered everything. We've covered these comparison of the platform. The two different platforms are very different. There was a time when maybe there was a lot of overlap, but now they're very different on the abortion issue, on the gun issue, and the military. One is for peace through strength, and the other is for basically disarming.
You're talking about disarmament. You and I both have a good friend, Dr. Finley Baird.
Yeah.
He worked on the Manhattan Project. He's one of the great American heroes.
Yeah.
That atomic bomb that was dropped during World War II.
Yeah.
Ended a war.
Yeah.
Killed a lot of people, but ended a war that was going to bring world dominance under communism. And freedom won. We're back at the same place again in our history. If we don't have people like Dr. Finley Baird that'll stand up for America, unsung heroes. It was a horrible thing that the World War II was. However, we wouldn't be sitting here today and have the freedom to even say what we're saying if it had not been for that atomic bomb that was dropped.
Right. I'm looking over this platform. The other major differences are whether or not they're going to draft our daughters. One side wants to draft the daughters, and the other side does not want to draft our daughters. And the other major issue is voter identification, whether or not you should have an identification in order to vote. Well, some people want to do away with the voter identification. And here's another with...
so they can stack the platform and corrupt the system.
Exactly, and vote several times over because they don't have to show who they are.
Identification.
And then the open borders. One side is for closing the borders to all these drugs and terrorists and all of these problems. And the others say, oh, no, we need to leave the borders open and let everybody that wants to come in, bring all the drugs they want, keep the price of drugs low so that all the teenagers want to get strung out on
Dr. Simon,
drugs.
When you go into a third world nation, you don't have to go too far. You go to Guatemala or Honduras or Nicaragua or any of those third world countries that are close. You don't cross borders there without border patrol.
Really?
No, you don't.
See, there you have it.
They patrol their borders. They will not allow people in from other nations, from other countries. And you have armed guards with machine guns or with shotguns to keep people away from coming in.
See, that's the problem. Okay, well, I guess we're out of time now. We want to thank you for watching, and we want to thank Bill Haycraft for... What are you representing?
And I want to say that the National Rifle Association, the Gun Owners of America, the United States Sportsmen's Alliance, Safari Club International, Wild Turkey Foundation, all of those outdoor groups, we appreciate the work that you're doing to win this election for the right cause.
Thanks a lot. Tune in again next week for the rest of the news.
Greetings from Washington. I want to thank all of you for your work to root out corruption that weakens economic development, feeds black markets and organized crime, and undermines the promise of democracy.
I believe in the oldest adage in American politics, which is follow the money.
A new report today claims that the Clinton Foundation gives about 10% of its money that it raises to actual charities.
You have a foreign corporation or a foreign government that wants something from the State Department while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State. They will make a large payment to the Clinton Foundation. That will be followed by favorable action on their behalf. They've created a model for massive self-enrichment that allows you to go into so-called public service, but get extremely rich at the same time. The American people are tired of being sold out.